My guest today is Svea Lambrughi. Svea is currently traveling the world, learning and teaching movement and embodiment. She teaches yoga and breathwork, and she also incorporates movement and dance beyond traditional yoga. She also guides people using the gene keys and her intuition. I met Svea when she was just about to leave on a spiritual world tour. She had just shaved her head and was exiting a Vipassana retreat. Guatemala, Nicaragua, Peru, India, Indonesia, etc. Her journey has been spectacular, and I wanted to go beneath the surface. In this episode, we talk about her leaps of faith changing her life completely, and how she sees the world and flows with it. How is Bali treating you?
Oh, Bali is very beautiful. It's very nourishing and very alive. There is a lot of water, something that, for example, in India was not present. The earth is super gorgeous. It's like speaking. This is what I love, like just going around and seeing the waterfall and staying with the earth is like alive, and the wind and the things. I feel Pocahontas, you know? It's amazing. But it's super touristic. It's next level tourism, and when I arrived, I felt like, oh wow, I'm in Europe. What's happening? It's more city vibe. Also, I am in Ubud, where it's spiritual, but like commercialization of the spirituality in a way. Also, coming from India, where they are really spiritual, not fake spiritual. Oh wow, it's a good way to have perspective. What I'm feeling is that I am more and more having more perspective about everything and how things can be done. Is amazing. So it's nice, but I can't wait to go back to India. In 10 days, I'm back. So I'm very happy.
I thought you would, based on what you started the call with, I thought you wanted to stay in Bali. Like the Pocahontas vibe and water felt like a good place to stay for me.
Yes, it is, but the community for me is important. And the people that I met in India where I was, I'm going back to where I was before, that is Goa. And the community there is amazing. The events are, I don't know, much more easy, more connected, more wild, more connected to the truth. I don't know, less marketing and less appearance also. The people are more simple, life is easy. So this is my vibe. Yeah. Yeah, I go back.
Good, good. Maybe we introduce you. I
Yes,
will just
yes,
say that we met in Vipassana on the last day, just before going back home, and you've been my yoga teacher for a few
yes.
classes, and then we both left Barcelona at that point.
Mm.
So a short but deep history between us, and I'm very excited about having you on the podcast because I want to hear about your journey. We spoke a little bit before that call about how you're in the middle of the whirlwind. Things are moving very quickly. You're learning a lot of things and you're practicing many different things very intensely. And I'm very excited to hear from you how it's been like and learn beyond what I know. I know a few keywords from you. And I know yoga a bit deeper and Vipassana a bit deeper, but all the rest are just keywords
Mm.
and labels that I have not explored yet. So for me, this is an opportunity to
Mm.
go a bit beyond that veil of little shallow knowledge of your life and learn more. You've been communicating more on social media since Barcelona. I see a lot more
Yeah.
stuff and would like to hear about the different things you do for people.
Yes. Wow, thank you for this introduction. Feels I'm very honored to be here and to share my path, because for me it's very obvious, and now I am in a kind of momentum. I'm in a wave of riding this way of life that in some moments feels like normal to me. Like now I could never go back to the previous life that I was doing before. Like I call it the life in the matrix. But I know how inspiring these leaps and the people that do what I do can be for people that are afraid of jumping into the unknown, of jumping into their dreams, into the fears, into what we call the unusual lifestyle. That for me is the most truth and more connected to what we are really. It is much more logical in a way than the lifestyle that we have created for ourselves in the cities and in the Europe or Western world. Where to start? I don't know.
Maybe what do you offer people at the moment? What do you do for people?
Okay, so what I do is I feel that what my mission is help them realize their true power. So help people come back into the awareness of their body, of their life experience, and being connected to the four prime, I would say, I don't know, I don't know how to define them, but they are the spirit, the mind, the heart, and the emotions. Integrate these four things and they are in alignment, you start experiencing life from another point of view, from another perspective. And the tools to do that are different. So what I do is working through the body or in the body. So yoga, dance, embodiment. Mind, so gene keys, and work on the awareness. So work on like also meditation. Meditation, I consider it, depend on which kind of meditation you do, but if you work on observing how the mind works, you are able to rewire the patterns of how you think, because it's just a program. What I define mind is our patterns of consciousness, our patterns of thinking. So the way in which we just interpret reality, the way in which we see things, the way in which we resolve problems of our life. So the work on the mind is being aware of how your mind works. And once you are aware, you can decide how your mind works, because you can learn other programs. It's like installing the software in your brain. So you have the machine that is the hardware, that is the physical brain, that is the body, and then you have the software that is the programs that you learn through your life, from your parents, from your emotional things, from your intellect, and all these things runs your life. So you can run these programs unconsciously, and you can experience life from these codes that you are not aware of, or through observation, through self-inquiries, through active devotion to who you are and to what you're here to do, you can reprogram how you think. And this is one of the most difficult and most like complex thing to do, because our mind is infinite, and who really knows what is the mind. And goal is not really to manage the mind or understand the mind, because that we cannot really do, I think, because we are mystical beings. Our understanding of life reaches to a certain point. Our intelligence is not reaching what we are really here to do. So the mind is just to become able to observe. Like the work on the mind is to become the observer of your mind, and from there experience life from a completely different perspective. So the patterns are rewired through the observation and the stillness of the mind. Emotions are another aspect that is connected to our human experience, because emotions are how we experience the energy. Emotions are energy in motion. So they are a reaction of our experience to life. So they are teachers. They are a feedback of how we interpret reality. They are what makes us also human. And they are connected to the way in which our mind process and perceive reality. So emotions and mental activity are very connected to each other. But yeah, emotions in a way are here to teach us how to transform the energy into something else, or to not retain the emotions in our body. So if we can align, and if we can be equanimous with these emotions and let them go and let them flow, it is more easy to be human in a sense. And we have to acknowledge that existence in our life. So an emotion usually takes 90 seconds to happen. And the problem with emotions is that if we don't express them in the moment that they are happening, they get stuck. It's like energy that is not passing through, and it gets stuck in our system. And this is how we create trauma blocks in our body, because if we experience one, like for example, we get scared of something, like a lion enters in our room and we are super scared, and the reaction in that moment is like screaming or running or doing something. If we don't express that energy that we are feeling in that moment, and we trap that energy in our body, and we do repeatedly the same thing for 5 years, this energy creates a physical block in our body that manifests into also disease and physical blockages and other aspects of our life. That this is how also the energetic body works, and how the chakra system is based on also in the yogic tradition. But this is exactly what happens when we got sick and when we feel pains in our body, is because we are not letting our emotions to express. So this is why it's so important, the connections to that, and not be afraid of them, not be afraid of anger, not be afraid of sadness, don't be afraid of joy. Like, they need this expression. This is the beauty of being human, and we are completely disconnected from that. Our society is denying completely the aspect of emotions.
Let's try to remove the video and see if the audio gets better. You told me about the emotion part, and then what about the spirit part?
So the spirit is the most mystical and the most unexplored part of our lives. The spirit is the thing that unites the individual with all the rest. There is a spirit in everything. Spirit is the only thing that is ever present in every one of us. The force that moves everything. The work to do with the spirit is reconnect to that force that is inside of us. Being able to listen, trust, and being connected to the spirit is nothing more than being actually who you are, than being empowered in your gifts, in what you're here to do, like in the joy of being human, in the joy of sharing with people, in the joy of being with nature, is being alive, knowing the beauty of being alive. This is the connection to spirit. And this is another thing that we have completely lost. Like, we have so many things, we have incredible houses, we have incredible cars, most people are not happy. So this is the disconnection, total disconnection to what is spirit. Spirit is life. Spirit is knowing that you are on the earth, rotating around a giant ball of fire, and you are not excited about this experience. It's a hello, wake up. Like, this experience is amazing. What do you want to do with your life? Like, this experience is now. You will die one day. First, you don't know if you wake up tomorrow, and we take for granted that every day we wake up and we do our lives. And second, this experience will end. You will die. So what do you want to do with this beauty?
Yeah, I hear you. So you have those 4 components. What do you do with people with them?
Depending on the needs of the people that I meet, like, the approach that I am using right now is really holistic. So I am developing like a kind of intuitive thing, like personal way to approach everyone that meets me. And I just feel their energy, that I just feel where they are stuck. I just feel if they need some more work on their bodies. I just know if they are not breathing well, just by talking with people 5 minutes, you already know what they need, because I don't know, is a lot of experience with this component, is a good word actually, of life. So what I do is guiding them. For example, I teach a lot of yoga. I teach the 200-hour teacher training for people that are interested to become new teachers of yoga. And here there is so much to do, because again, we are so disconnected with our bodies. We take for granted the functioning of our body, and we are not aware of the beauty of being in the body, of being aware of the potential of our movements, of our wow, like the juiciness of being in the human body. So usually this is also the entrance point and the reason why many people ask for help, because they are sick, or maybe they have chronic pains, or they feel they are disconnected to their bodies, or sometimes they just want to become stronger, they want to be fitter. There are many reasons behind that, but the body is a good point of entrance, because it's the aspect that many people get in their spiritual journey is, oh wow, I'm so disconnected to my body, I want to connect more to my body. So this is what I do with the body. And actually everything is connected, because once you start working on the body, you start feeling things that you have never felt before. So if you start practicing yoga, after 1 month that you practice yoga, you will see yourself crying on the mat, or during your practice, new things will come up and you will have to deal with sadness or with anger. And you say, wow, I never felt this anger before. And I don't know why. Of course, because you are moving your body and you're moving your energy. So everything is moving and you have to process the things that are stuck in your body. So then the path keeps evolving and keeps going on. So it has an effect on the mind. Work that I do with the mind right now is focused a lot on the jinkies. And the jinkies are, oh wow, are an incredible system of understanding how consciousness and life works through you. I don't know if you have questions till now. I'm like, pa, 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 pa.
Is there a path between those four components? Do you start with the body, then you go to the mind, then you go to the emotion, and then you go to spirit?
I think that the work is done anytime on the four of them, and mostly is the percentage of attention that you change. But if you're working on the body, you are anyways working on the other aspects. The path that I build with people and to help them goes really with my intuition. It's just that I know what they need in that moment, in that specific moment. And there are more people that, for example, they are used to work more with the mind. And so starting from the mind will help them feeling more comfortable in the healing process. Because all these, we are talking about healing, and we are talking about being reconnected to your true nature, to who you are as a human being, to go back to the roots of who you are and not trying to be something else. For me, it's the entrance point, the clue of all this work, because you have to really find the most comfortable place for people to start with. So sometimes you find that emotions are the best way to enter. So I maybe work more on the expression of emotions, on the vulnerability, on letting go of expressing them through, it can be movement, it can be voice, it can be art, anything. Or maybe someone needs more the mind approach. So we start with the jinkies, and then I explain them how our patterns of consciousness works and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, okay, now I understand. And now that I understand, I can start working on the body. And there are completely different people that are super physical, and they are like, okay, I just want to be fitter, and I just want my muscle to be stronger. And then after they practice yoga 3 months, they start, oh wow, I feel more connection to life, and I feel more inspired, and that, okay, so the spirit is coming to you. I call them just entrance point to inspire people, where people got inspiration to keep working on themselves, because at the end is your commitment that you have towards your life that I want to inspire, that I want to bring more awareness on this life experience. Because if we live in a more conscious way together, we will just change completely how life is working for us right now on the planet. We will be in service of others instead of being fearing our own self-individualistic life experience. We will stop worrying about how much money I have and how many houses I am buying, and we will start sharing from the heart, from caring really for other people, and not just with this consumerism and selfish way. And yes, this is how I approach the work.
So basically, there's no sequence. It's more like what is needed in this moment. You sense it,
Yeah,
and then you create something, some kind of experience, so that people can, without friction, get there. And you talk the
exactly.
language that they need. That makes sense. Okay. How did you find out about gene keys, and why did it resonate?
So, well, the gene keys are a method, a teaching that I met 8 years ago. So it's a long time that I studied this system. And I just crossed this tool because I was following one girl on Instagram, and she just posted something about the gene keys. And I'm like, oh, wow, it just attracted so much my attention that in that moment I was like, okay, wow, I need to study this thing. And so I started to download my profile and study more about how it works. But at the beginning, also, my ability to understand the concepts was very limited because you can read something, and at the beginning I wasn't understanding the 70% of what I was reading. But I was feeling that there was a lot of truth in these teachings. And my passion continued in this method because I find there is an incredible groundedness in science, because these teachings are based on how our DNA is built, and the fact that our DNA, so the codes that governs how we are made, our behaviors, our way to live our lives, are a reflection of how the cosmos works. Because the DNA is our body, our life experience is holographic. So it means that it reflects exactly the laws of the universe, how the cosmos in the universe is working. So the laws that governs how Mars is rotating around the sun is the same codes that we have in our DNA. So as much as we bring awareness to how consciousness works through us, we can, in a way, unlock some codes that are already hidden in our DNA, but we are unconscious about them. So we still manifest them in the survival mode, which was the way in which we evolved in the previous phases of being human. So when we were Homo sapiens, or in that era, we had to manifest this gift, so these aspects of life in the survival mode, because if not, we would be extinct. But right now, we are in another phase of our evolution, and the functioning of our codes can be used in a different way, because the seed is the same. So an aspect of consciousness, like what, for example, what is a gene key, is one same aspect, and you can manifest it in the shadow frequency, which is the unconscious, which is the fear, which is the survival mode, or you can manifest it in the gift. So bringing awareness to how the shadow works will give you the tools to bring it to another frequency, so a new information, and bring this knowledge in service to other people, in service to the rest of the world. So this is why it's so exciting for me, because it's very scientific and very spiritual at the same time, because it's the connection to life itself through our DNA. So I'm like, oh my God, the more I study, the more I get excited. For me, it's amazing.
Talking about the genesis of you being there, if we go 8 years ago, you had the gene keys. Were you already practicing yoga at the time? What made you come to this point? Because when I met you in Barcelona, so it was about 2 years ago, more or less, I remember you having doubts at the time, not really
Mm-hmm.
knowing and still searching. So you were already quite advanced, I think, in some of the practices that you have today. But in terms of, I think, that focus, that clarity of mind that you have right now, I don't think it was there at that time. You were still soul
Oh
searching.
no.
And
Yes.
yeah, and I'm very interested in where does it come from? Because 8 years ago is quite a long time. Was there something in your childhood already that maybe parents or family that were on that path and were talking to you and you were inspired? How did it go into your life, all this thing?
Actually, no. My family is very connected to science. So none of them is spiritual, and I never met spirituality before in my life. I did all this work alone, basically. But yeah, because I am very active in the mind, I feel that one of my gifts is really intelligence, in the sense that I love understanding things, and I understand very quickly. I feel I get things. And so this is one of my gifts. And this is how I also learn reality. This is how I've always been stimulated. Like my inquiry of life is, who am I? What am I doing? What is the meaning of life? And this is, for me, was the juicy of this experience. I always had this attraction to philosophy and physics, how the real world works and why, like the philosophy behind it. Who is a human being? I've always been attracted to the spiritual meaning of being human. Since I remember, like in the philosophy class at the high school, I was always super attracted to all the philosophers. So this is really something that is important for me, or always been important. So yeah, these teachings, Jinkies, came into my life, and it just resonated so much. Even if at that moment, maybe when I started studying them, I was not able to understand everything that they were saying, I was just feeling there was so much truth in them. And I knew at some point that they would uplift incredibly my experience, because as soon as I started really getting what they are saying, everything shifted. And I started to share them, and I started to do readings to other people. And it just, everything clicked, because also the work on the body and the understanding of how our emotions affect our energetic body, and it's just like everything made so much sense. It was like one day you wake up and everything clicked together. So I've always been super connected to my body. Like my life since I am a child was very physically active and physically connected to bringing the body to the highest potential. So I was training so much, and I was like super active child, and I did a high level competition of skating, and then gymnastic artistics, and then so the body for me was the way to connect to that life force. And this is the beginning, like for me, this is the beginning of all my path, because without the body, I probably wouldn't unlock all other things, all other aspects. Yeah.
When did yoga come into your life?
Maybe 10 years ago, I would say.
You started with yoga and then Jinkies, basically.
Yes. Yoga, Jinkies, and then the spirit and the emotions are something that I think has always been there. It's just the awareness behind how they work that changes.
When you read the different philosophers, were you already seeing this as wisdom that you could embody? Because I also resonated a lot with philosophy back in school, but I was seeing it as just a mind game. I didn't see it as something I could embody. I could understand conceptually, but then I could not bring it into my life. Were you already able to bring it into your life at such a young age?
I was really just interested in understanding who I am. Like my inquiry was around the fact that I was feeling that I am something more than just my body, or that I am something more than just my mind. So the philosopher that I was reading were just giving me much more hope and confirmation of what I was already feeling in my heart. So there is this aspect of like inspiration. I didn't know how I would use all this knowledge, and I didn't know how to embody them. But I was feeling that this depth and this understanding of this experience of life was what was really meaningful to me. The only thing that was giving sense to what I was feeling, because I was feeling so much and feeling like experiencing life in a so much intensity and like excitement. I was just feeling as I am now. I'm becoming my inner child again right now. I grew up, I become more child. And I just remember when I was a child, I was just overexcited about everything, because I was feeling that is wow, being human is fucking amazing. Yes. And these concepts and these teachers, these people that were just studying the human experience were just giving me more hope that I was not crazy. I was just resonating with what they are saying. And Yeah, their definitions of life, they're just like perspectives. So it's not that the Nietzsche knows more or the Nietzsche is right, but his way to see reality was inspiring me to see my way to see reality. So this is what philosophy helped me to do.
I see. Okay, and so now, so basically, you left Barcelona and you started to travel the world. Can you tell me a little bit more about what it's been like to travel for already almost 2 years?
Yeah, what happened is that I felt that the normal life, or the life that I called, that I was feeling more controlled and in city life and doing the things that we all do, was a bit suppressing me. My spirit in that moment was so alive, and I felt that I needed to recollect some memories, because what I feel is that when we are born, we know already everything. Children know already everything, and they are connected to life, and they just know. And then when we grow up, we forget, and we are taught who we should be, how we should be, everything. And we forget who we are. When I started my journey, I was just having this call, this inner call, that I had to remember who I am. And I had to remember through the connection with the earth. This is what I am devoted to, the earth and the connection of our spirit to the earth.
When was it, to put a component of time? When did you get this realization that you want to reconnect to the earth, or that you're meant to reconnect with the earth?
I started the journey. How I function is always through instinct. So I just follow my instinct and my heart. So in that moment, I didn't know that I had to reconnect with the earth. I discovered it through the journey. But it happened 2 years ago when I left Barcelona. Yeah, I just felt that everything was blocking me from my truest expression. This is why I let go of all the things. I let go of my apartment, of all my stuff, or my bicycle, and I started to just be lighter and say, okay, now I'm ready. I'm ready to live. I'm ready to be free. I'm ready to explore who I really am and recollect the memories. One day, I just probably don't remember now the exact day, but I just wake up and my life, how as I'm living it, doesn't make sense anymore. And so I say, okay, what do I want? I just want to explore the earth, and I just want to get new teachings from new cultures, from the mountains of Peru, that are telling me new ways to live life. Maybe I remember who I really am. So
Yeah,
it's
at this time, aren't you? So I'm really interested in this moment, but aren't you
yeah,
scared? Aren't you scared? Like, you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna let go of everything. I'm just gonna go. Why does it make sense?
I think people need to hear this because they need to know how I did it, because it's possible. And I'm just not special. I just did all the things that we need to do to be free, because this is what it is to be free, to be yourself. But you have to let go of many things that are around us, that are in the control system. So the way in which society is built is to control us. So to be able to be free from that, you have to understand first of all how the system works, because the way in which I became free is be smarter than the system. Honestly. So it's through, I think, through my smarter way to see money and to manage my money, because to be able to travel everywhere in the world and having the comfort to say, okay, I cannot work for 1 year and see what happens. You have to prepare yourself for that. So the last year that I was working, I just said, okay, this year I just eat and I buy things in the supermarket. So I don't do anything else. I don't go out. I don't do anything. I just save money for my jump, for my leap of faith, because this is a leap of faith. It's a jump, and you trust life that will give you something that you don't know. So I was feeling inside my heart and inside all my body that there was something more of this life experience. That was not just that life cannot be just what the society is telling me. It cannot be possible. I was just knowing that. So I was like, okay, fuck it. I want to know what's behind all these fake that we have created. So how do I do that? I take all that I need to be independent from the society for a certain period of time. So this is what I did. And at one point when I was feeling I had enough money to travel and to sustain myself, I said, okay, I'm ready. I leave everything and I go. And this is the most difficult thing to do, because how we work is always through the security, through the illusion that we are safe, provided for, that we have an income every month, that we have, and letting go of all these security ideas is the most difficult thing to do, because we don't trust life. We are not taught, no one teaches us how to trust life.
One question there. What was your job before leaving it all?
I left Apple, and then this is where when I started working as yoga teacher. So in that moment, but still leaving a job like that, I was managing 300 people in a big store. I was gaining a lot of money. And then I was like, when I left the company, I started working as yoga teacher, but yoga teacher gain 20 euros per class. And
when you start your working life, there's a culture. And then when you start managing people, you start understanding the different levels of reality, because there's something you need to tell people, there's something that you're told, and you understand that there are different levels. And I think that removes your sense of safety. You understand that safety is just made up. And once you understand that this is just a story, then your level of safety disappears and you need to find safety somewhere else. And actually, I was never safe. I always felt I was safe. When your parents are providing for you, you don't know about all the difficulty they go through, and the fact that one day or another, you can actually be bankrupt, you can run out of money, all these things can happen. And you don't know because, as you said, you always believe that you're going to wake up the next day. You always believe there will be bread on the table. But once you get to an older age, you understand that this safety doesn't exist. So it's interesting because you were actually preparing that leap of faith for some time already. So when I met you, you were already preparing for 1 year to jump in.
Yes, I knew deeply in myself, is like my soul. And what we define soul is like, it's something that goes beyond our understanding of the logical mind. I just knew inside myself that there was more. There was more of this experience, that this cannot be everything. This cannot be happiness, because I was not happy. Because all the things that society was trying to sell me and telling me, like, if you do this, then you were happy. If you get this job, then you are happy. If you get this money, then you are happy. If you have, and all these things were like, okay, I got this, but I'm not happy. I got this. And when I attained a certain level of, I don't know, also my job, I was starting from zero and then becoming manager and then doing all these things and getting much money. And I'm like, okay, now I did all the things that society was telling me to do. But this is not happiness, guys. So what the fuck?
How old are you now?
I'm 36 since a few days.
Congratulations. Happy birthday.
Okay.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Okay, so you knew what you were doing. You knew what you were getting into. What's the part that made you realize this is the right signal and I'm not just becoming crazy? Did you even think yourself, well, maybe I'm just going too far? Did you go there in this kind of thinking?
Oh, wow. There was so much fear. I was fucking scared. I was super scared of what I was doing. And honestly, I didn't know what I was doing. Imagine that you open a door, and in this door, there is a universe that everything is dark. And you start walking in the darkness until you stumble on something. This was the feeling. So I was incredibly scared. But at that point, the suffering of staying the same was more than the pain of going to the unknown. So for me, my life was complete meaningless by staying the same, by doing the same thing, by going the same job, by working more on selling technological products. And it's like my life was in a pause. I was feeling that I was not living my life. I was not in power of my life. I was not deciding anything. I was in autopilot. And so for me, this was not life. I was not alive. So for me, there was more aliveness in the fear, even if I was feeling so much fear and in a way, a lot of resistance and suffering and crying and feeling lost and feeling disconnected to all my friends because I was shifting. So as I was shifting, I was also letting go of old friendships, or it's painful. Change is painful. And at the moment, there was like a big sadness and big aloneness, and not easy. It's not easy, that path. Yes. Sorry, a man asked me
No
something.
worries.
And it was not easy, but really there was, for me, no point in staying where I was. So in a way, I had no choice because the spirit, the connection to life was so intense that was driving my choices.
But
so this is
so you could have chosen many different paths of change. Yeah, I need to change industry, or I need to go back to university. This need for change could have taken so many different ways. The change I understand, and the feeling that your daily life makes no sense, that I completely get. But why the decision to go into that? Why go so far? Why go into so much? Why cut yourself from all those things? Because also it can feel that it's hard to go back to the previous life, right? So you're really making a big leap of faith. So you could have made one small step in a different direction and see how it goes, and instead of going completely the other way.
Yeah, I think that this is my way of understanding, of learning, of going through the path of my life. We are all different and we have all different ways to understand reality. But I think that one of the aspects, and also is reflected on my gene keys, my life's work, so what I'm here to do, is transform greed into aspiration, into ascension. So I was coming from, and I am always coming from, the greed, the avidity of having everything now. So as I was exploring this new vision of my life experience, I was like, oh wow, now I want everything and I want it now. So I went through it, I don't know, a train at 200 kilometers per hour. I was motivated by the fact that I was wanting more of that, and feeling that there was something on the other side, that I was going very fast and I was not taking it easy. I was like going very fast. And this is my shadow, but this is also a gift at the end, because I am able to let go of all the things very fast, because I see the vision. I have the vision and I see what is on the other side. Even if I don't see, I feel. It's all connected to my intuition. And this is also what I feel is the connection to the feminine force of the universe, and where we all come from, and the illogical part of creation, of all these mystical aspects of what life really is. So I think that this force was driving my actions since the beginning. And the immature, in a sense, is very immature. What I was doing was very unconscious. My family was completely terrified of what I was doing. It was like, Svea, you are so crazy. What are you doing?
Yeah, you also shaved your hair.
Exactly. I did so many
super
crazy
extreme.
things. Yeah, I was one day I just wake up and I feel like I just wake up and I know I have to shave my head.
Yeah.
So I go and I shave my head.
Yeah.
But this is all reflection of what I'm experiencing inside of my being. So for me, that was the reset of my old identity, and say, okay, I am not all that. Yeah. I don't know who I am, but I start from zero. So shave.
Yeah.
You know.
I love it. But it sounds crazy, but the fact that you are saving money for a year and living differently and preparing for it clearly shows that there's some thinking in there. It's not just, okay, I'm going to do that, boom. There was some premeditation. If it was a murder, you would be in more trouble. You worked on it for a while. Yeah. Okay. And sorry, you were going to say something.
Yeah, no, see, I just want to say that the organizational part and the logical part was always present in me. So I've always been grounded, even if I was feeling that this spirit and this mission, this heart calling was driving me. I've always been connected to the fact that we live in the material world, we are connected to money, I need a place to sleep, I need to eat food, so there was always an intelligence behind my actions that was helping me to provide for myself, to not be so naive and say, oh, I don't know what to do with my life, I will go to Guatemala and see what happens. No, in my grounding, I had a plan. Like I didn't know the plan, but this is so complicated in a way to explain, because my mind works in a very logical way through the illogical world. So I always had a way to find the right money to do the right thing, or to save money there to do the other thing, or to buy the next ticket, or very organized. Like I feel my other very good skill is organization, is knowing how to invest my energy, is knowing where my money comes from and for what I use that money for. So I don't waste energy for nothing. And I exactly know what I will use for what. So this gives me a lot of freedom because I manage my energy. For me, money is energy. So this is what I became very able to do because I know what I'm doing.
Love it. Love it. Okay, so
Yeah.
you take this leap of faith, you start teaching yoga in Barcelona, and then, well, we went to Vipassana together, you did your yoga teaching in Barcelona, and then you decide to leave. And the first country is Guatemala, or it's Peru?
The first country is Guatemala, yeah.
Guatemala.
Yeah.
So what happens in Vipassana, and then from Vipassana to Guatemala?
Oh, wow. Okay. So there happens that I also do my first ayahuasca ceremony, first ayahuasca experience, and my first connection to plant medicine, and the fact that the earth wants to communicate with us and the earth wants us to heal. And so during that ceremony, I had the message that I had to leave. Like actually, this is, for example, one of the way in which I decided to leave, because after that experience, I came back home and I started to take action. I started to put things on sale. I had very clear that I had to leave. So after the Vipassana was also very clear. It was like, what am I doing in this city? What am I doing? Like that me staying here is just blocking my freedom to express myself, to be. And after the ayahuasca.
So was the ayahuasca after I saw you? Like after I last saw you?
I think so. Yeah,
okay,
I don't know. Remember very well, but
I remember the energy that you had. You clearly knew something had to change, and you were planning to travel, but there was no clarity in where or how or when. It was still nebulous.
Yeah, I think then it got clearer, and the feeling in my body was like, just go, just try. And also the feeling that the more you become independent from the system, the more you trust yourself, and the more you know that you can take care of yourself. There is always a way to find money. There's always a way that life provides for you. You feel supported by life. And so you have more courage, you have more faith, you try new things, you take more leaps. And this is what I was doing. Like the decision also to leave. Like I knew that what can go wrong? If something goes wrong, I come back, I find a new apartment, I find a new job, and I start getting a normal salary like a normal person. Right now I have the skills that can make me find something to not die. You know what I mean? There's no real danger. I am safe. Wherever I am safe. Because I can go to a bar and say, okay, I can do the waitress for you 2 months and leave and pay my food and pay my bed. So what is the problem? There is no problem. So having this awareness gives you a lot of freedom, because you are now, okay, I won't die. So as I won't die and I can provide for my survival, what else can I do with my life? What do I really want? What do I really want to try? What gives me enthusiasm in this life? So this is what were my questions. was my inquiry. And I started traveling by following these things. So for me, dance was something that was connected to everything, because dance is body, is spirit, is mind, is heart, is emotions. So I started following teachers that were helping me how to use dance as a healing practice. So how many things we can learn through the movement, the contact with other people, the trust that we have in our body, the everything. And from there, it was just the flow of the path of knowing new people and knowing the right person that was teaching me another way, and that was presenting me another teacher that was like, okay, now there is this course in Nicaragua, and now you go to Nicaragua to do another course, and then you meet another person that tells you, oh, there is this teacher in Peru that teaches you how to work with plant medicine and how to connect with your body and your spirit. And so you say, oh wow, of course I'm going to Peru. So then everything unfolds because you follow your heart and you don't care about the logical meaning behind what you are doing, because nothing is logical. We have the illusion to a control, and we have the illusion that everything is logical, but it doesn't have a logic. So you trust life. This is what happens, that you trust life. This is what I'm doing right now.
So the faith, well, first we have faith in the family, then we have faith in some kind of system, institution, and at some point, some of us have faith in life. That's what it is.
Yes, wow, this is a beautiful way to see that. Yeah.
I was listening yesterday to Jon Stewart, a podcast he did with a few people about COVID vaccine. So I won't go in there. I don't want to be.
Oh wow.
I don't want to be causing problems to this recording. But basically, one of the things I loved about what the girl was saying was, we stopped trusting the government, let's say, about vaccines, but actually we trust institutions all the time. Like when you buy some fruits or some cheese or some chicken, you don't test the food before you eat it. You trust that there's no chemicals in it.
Yeah.
And so at some point there's a breaking in the trust, a rupture, and we stop trusting some aspects. But we need to realize that we're not doing our own research for most of the things we do in life. We trust, we have faith. And that's how society is based. And so that's why I was thinking about this, that you say as a faith transfer from institutions to life. And it's not more absurd to believe in life than it is to believe in institutions when you have the kind of experience that you've had. I think for people who have never trusted life itself or God or whatever, to move from institutions and something that sounds more scientific and more rational to something irrational is the problem, right? So what do you build your faith on? Just that deep feeling, that intuition that has been right so far. So you following your heart, and every time you do a leap of faith, seeing that what it brings is positive, then of course you're going to take another one, and you're going to take another one.
Yes, and I would say that faith is connected to how conscious you are of your life experience. And this is why I work with people to help them being more conscious about their life. So I help them being more conscious about how their body works. So we do yoga, we do breath work, and conscious about how your mind works. Because being more conscious means that you have a different perception of the world. And through having different perception, you understand that the reality that you are seeing is a reflection of where you are now in your consciousness. So the more conscious you become, the more able you will be connected to life. And these leaps of faith will be the result, the immediate consequence of you being more conscious. So the point is not how I change my faith. The point is how much awareness do I have on the things that I do? Because most of us, all the things that we do are unconscious. We wake up, we move from the bed, we take the phone, we open Instagram, then we go, we take the coffee, and there is, for most of us, there is an autopilot for most of the day. And we are not conscious that we are moving our leg, and we are putting the left foot in front of the right foot, and then the right foot in front of the left, and that we have two legs that are working and that are healthy and that are bringing us around the world. And we are not able to be grateful for that. This is the problem. And when we become conscious of the fact that of the incredible experience that is to be human, then faith is the only consequence that you can experience after this realization.
I
So
love
this
it.
is what, this is what I do.
Basically, it's not a leap of faith when you actually see the world as it is. This just becomes normal. There's no more friction. There's also something magical that happens when you do these things that you do, for instance, is that people feel you in a different way. So even if we all work towards like scientific stuff or rational stuff, it needs to make sense, it needs to be financially sustainable, etc. What deeply we look for as humans in our experience is the right states, feeling good basically, and we gravitate towards people who are feeling good themselves because that then makes us feel good about ourselves. And so even if it looks like a leap of faith what you're doing, you are coming back with such a beautiful energy to the group, then that the group will want to find a spot for you wherever it is. I think for people hesitating to do this kind of thing and going deeper and exploring and just following their heart, I think there's a big piece about you will feel better, and so you will be a better company. People will enjoy and will want to have near them. Even if you don't believe in all the rest, that alone is beautiful. You're going to come as a open, blossoming. You are blossoming with something amazing. And I think that removes as well a lot of the stress to do this kind of leap of faith.
Yes. And this is why more also people that are not connected to spirituality are attracted to what I do, because they say, I don't understand what you're doing, but I want what you are sharing. Like, I want to have the same energy. I want to be happy. I want to feel so light and so joyous as you feel. So what is the medicine? Because I'm trying so many things, but I'm still depressed. I have so much money in my bank account, but I'm depressed. So what is the key to be happy? Because of course, what is selling us society is not the happiness. So this is why is also attracting different people that are maybe not feeling this presence of the spirit or of being spiritual. And the point of all this is the embodiment. What I teach ultimately is the embodiment. So is the physical and energetic understanding of life in your human form. So how you bring all these teachings and all your emotions and all the integration of your shadows and your patterns and your mind into your behaviors, into a way of how you communicate with the world, of how you relate to yourself, of how you treat your body, of how you eat, of how you smile to a stranger. This is the embodiment. This is bringing all these teachings of that life is bringing you into the behavior, into who you are as human being, who you really like, who you are just by being yourself, just by walking in the street and watching a plant and being yourself. This is the embodiment. And this is what we don't do at all, because we stay in our mind and then we process our emotions, but we don't integrate them and we don't talk to anyone about our vulnerabilities. Most of us don't believe in the spirit, so we just don't integrate anything that life force is showing us. So there is a big disconnection to the embodiment in this moment in humanity.
Something comes back to me. It's a conversation with Yana, a friend of mine who's an actress and also a professor of yoga and drama in theater. She was telling me about the fact that they play on stage and then they talk to their audience. And one of the best ways to get students in the classes of theater is actually to perform in front of people, because they're like, I want what you're having. That's the same thing that you're describing. I think that's the key.
Yeah. And this is also why in my social network, I share a way of life. I'm not selling you anything. I am expressing my truth through ordinary things, through a dance, through a message, through living a simple life, because this is the key of coming back to who we are, like who you are as human being, who you are when you're connected to your truth, when you're connected to the earth, when you're connected to your friends. And I'm not here to tell you, oh, wow, life is this and life is that, and you have to do this to be more conscious because spirituality is that. No, these are all just words. These are all just concepts, ideas.
Yeah. How do you live ultimately is the most important yardstick.
Yes, the behavior shows you who you are. And this is what I want to inspire people to do.
Your actions speak so loud that I can't hear what you're saying. That's something that stayed with me.
Yes.
That's
Wow.
Yeah.
This sentence, yes.
Yeah, love it.
Wow.
Okay, cool. So you are Guatemala. So dance basically brought you to Guatemala, like to a retreat of dance.
Yeah, yes.
And then
Unity of
Nicaragua,
dance.
and then to Peru, and then India.
Yes.
So,
Mexico, I've
Oh,
been around.
so what's next now? So you're in Bali, you're going to go back to India. What is next
Yeah,
for
what's
you?
next now? I feel that I'm shifting. I am in a big shift because also this life of explorer, of going around the world, in a way, is very beautiful, but is not very grounding. I don't have a house. I don't have a base. I am not putting my roots anywhere. Right now, I am feeling that I am missing that. But also, what I'm missing is the true connection to a community, a real people, like offering my gifts and my classes and my things into a space that people know me and people start to connect and we start to create together. And this is something that I want to probably develop in the next month. And this is why I'm going back to India, because there I found a beautiful community where I am inspired, where people recognize my value, people want to work with me. And I don't know if I will stay in India, how long I will stay, but the path is always evolving as every one of us. So what was working before probably won't work. So I'm always listening. I'm always in deep listening to what I really need. And right now I feel good just by staying in one place and ground and stay with the earth and with the people and sharing from that space.
So Goa, you would see yourself staying there long term?
Yeah, for now, I was feeling very good. And I love Indians. I love India culture. I love Indian people. I love the raw and the wild and the way in which they just speak honestly from their heart and they don't give a nothing to appear rude or to appear not educate or polite. They are themselves. They don't give a shit. So this is why I love India, because there is no layer of fake. There is no lies. Everyone just is honest because they don't care. And this makes the thing so much easy because you don't have to go through the layers and be kind just to everything. It's just direct, like pam, pam, pam. This is the thing.
What do you mean by they don't care?
They don't care about how you feel from how they feel. So they are honest with you, with what they feel, what they want, how they want to be treated, or how much money they want for something, because they don't care about your reaction. And this is the problem that we have, because we learn from our society to be people pleaser. So you are polite to other people, not because you are polite in your heart, but because you are worried that then people will think bad about you because you are not polite.
Yeah.
So this is the sickness of our society.
Yeah.
You do things because of what other people think of you, and not because you're
truly
really polite
There's no
from
integrity.
your heart. Exactly. There's no integrity. So this is why I love India, because they are integrity. They don't care. They are who they are. And if you like them, they are happy.
It means that it might be a bit rough at times.
Oh, see, super rough.
Okay.
Is incredibly raw. Like they are super wild. And if you are not strong enough in your core, and if you are not like grounded, sometimes you have to really say this, no, like you have to be really rude sometimes. And also to be a woman in India is also much more difficult because they are like super invasive. They really invade your boundary. So if you're not able to defend your boundary very strongly and with your strong core and heart and voice, like very clear voice, very pa, 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 they destroy you. They really destroy you. But it's amazing because there is no bullshit. Oh wow, the best conversation I had is with Indian people because there is no bullshit. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, in a way I like it. In another way I feel it's based on what you're describing, I feel it's a bit exhausting and it requires energy
Oh,
to defend your boundaries. I like the experience of not having to defend my boundaries, but I understand the beauty of having people who are honest. So I guess there's a
yeah.
trade-off. I don't know.
Yeah. Then you learn. It's a good gym. This is why I love being there now, because for me, it's a training of my boundary, because I've always been people pleasing others. For me now, working on my boundary is something that is giving me so much power and so much more awareness of myself and play and playfulness and enjoyment of this experience, because I feel that I can decide for myself. I feel I can be myself. And once you set your boundary, they really respect your boundary. If you are really sure about where is your boundary, then people are like, yes, everything is so honest. There is no crossing of the boundary, because they feel they are so connected to nature and to the wildness, and they are so human because they have nothing. They really don't have nothing. So they are naturally connected to the spirit, because what else they have? So they really respect when they feel your boundary. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so the way you make money at the moment is teaching yoga, teaching dance, coaching people. Is that it?
Yes, I do a lot of Jinkies session right now. So I am very happy about it, because many people are attracted to that, and I am super stimulated, because for me, the understanding of how we work in this life is amazing, and giving people their tools to understand themselves is amazing. So I'm working a lot on that. And also I'm always teaching yoga. I have my 200-hour teacher training online that gives me also this security, this stability of always having a course running. So this is good. And yeah, I teach where I am. I do workshops, classes. Yeah. So this is
Because
how it
from a
is.
financial outlook, I was thinking at some point it's the best is probably for you to come back to either a European city or a rich city in Asia or in the US and teach there, because you would have an opportunity to make a better living. Is it something you're thinking about? Or because Goa you can work
Yeah.
with tourists, I guess the locals don't really need this kind of service, but the tourists do, and they're used to the pricing in Goa, right? It would be very
Yeah.
cheap. How are you seeing it long term?
Oh, I don't think long term.
Okay.
I just do what I feel is right in this moment, because I know that things always change, and in 6 months I will experience and know things about life and about myself that will change my choices. Doesn't make any sense to choose now like long term, because long term I will be different. So this is why I don't choose long term.
Makes sense. It was the test to see if you're truly living in the moment. I'm joking. What are your doubts
Exactly.
on everything that is happening right now in your life? Do you have any doubts? Things that you're thinking,
Mm,
wow, what about that? Or
for sure, there is an aspect of always like when I go too much in my mind and I feel I don't trust life, there is always the doubt of safety, and there is always the doubt of financial freedom. I'm like, oh wow, if it happens, then oh wow, tomorrow I get sick and I cannot teach and I have to stay in bed for, I don't know, how do I live? Because
yeah,
everything now is my responsibility. My freedom is my responsibility. If I
yes,
stop working tomorrow, I can't eat.
yeah,
There is no something or some society that is, oh wow, yes, take the sickness leave and you receive money in your bank account and you stay in bed. So this of course is something that I am aware of, but also has not so much power over me right now. So I trust the healthy connection that I have to myself. I trust when I feel I need to rest. I'm honoring so much the relaxation moment. I'm honoring when my body feels it needs to recover, when my mind is overstimulated, so I need to stay more in time in nature. So the more you are aware of how you function, the more you take care of yourself. So you find this balance between giving and receiving, between how you invest your energy. So I really trust the ability that I have to provide for myself. So in a way, of course, there is the trace of this fear of this disconnection, but in a way, I know how to keep my system working, and how to keep my body safe, and how to eat so I can function well. And these are all choices. You wake up, you can choose. You do your practice, you do your meditation, you do your thing, or you go to eat chips, and then your mind is affected. So I know that I have to eat fruits, and then I have to eat vegetables, and then I have to eat proteins, and then I go to work a bit, and I do my sessions online, and I get my money. So I invest my money in the good food, in the good. All is about taking care of your lifestyle and of your experience.
What are the big projects for 2023? What do I wish you?
This is a beautiful question, because honestly, I am living the plan very open. Like, my intentions for the 2023 are just ways of feeling. Like, how would I love to feel? So my intentions are to feeling light, to feeling sexy, to feel fulfilled, to feel satisfied, to feel happy, to be surrounded with beautiful people, to keep enjoying this life experience, to keep growing, to keep inspiring people, to be present, to like staying in my path, staying in my truth, keep working every day with determination, keep nourishing myself, my body, my dream. This is, I would say that I would resume all these concepts in one word, which is presence, which is live in the now, because this is the most difficult thing we can't do. No one really lives in the present moment. And this is my only wish for 2023, that I can stay always in the now, because now is where magic happens. And the time doesn't exist anymore in the now. All the projects become, the point with the presence is that things come to you and you are not chasing things. So I don't know what project I will work on, but I know that if I am present, things will come to me. The right people will come to me. The right project will just come to my mind. Maybe I will do something, but it will come because I'm present, not because I'm thinking about what to do. So this is my wish for this year.
I love it. Maybe one last question for you. If you see yourself at the crossroad right now, so you have two paths, what are the two different paths that you haven't chosen yet, right?
Oh, wow. Let me feel one moment. Oh, okay. So I think it can be one path, the heart and love and relationship. And the other path is my soul path, like my alone path, my individual path. And this, I think, can be something that can be integrated for sure, because if you start walking love relationship and a romantic path and creating something with someone, of course you can bring your own path of your own development in the relationship, but everything changes and everything evolves in different way. So this is what if there were two paths, this is the vision that I have about these two. Right now I'm not there is no this option. I'm walking my soul path. There is no this choice, because right now I'm alone. I don't have the partner. I'm committed to my path, to my growth, to inspire people, to become a good teacher. But you never know. So maybe tomorrow I meet the man of my dreams, of my life. So this can be a very interesting way to see how I keep journeying into this life experience.
Lovely. Is there anything you would like to share that we didn't talk about yet? Something strong in your life that we didn't touch?
Yes, two things.
Tell me.
The importance of the family and the importance of the sisterhood. These are two things that determines the confidence and the trust and the ability to take the leaps. Because if I was able to take all these steps and to take all these risks in my life, was always because I was feeling that my family was supporting me, even if at the beginning there was like a lot of conflict and some incomprehension, and my father was very upset with me. I was feeling from them always love, always support, always like I knew that if I were in a very crazy situation, completely broke, completely destroyed, I wasn't finding my path, and I was like completely alone, they were there. And having these for me is the greatest gift, because I was always feeling that I was supported, that I was loved, that I was taken care of, even if I was very far, and even if they were thinking I was crazy, they were there.
You tell them, when is the last time you told them that?
Yeah, no, I am starting to really be grateful with them. I tell them these things, and I'm really, maybe I have to tell them exactly as I told you now, because
Yeah, it's a beautiful way. I was actually thinking it's a beautiful way of saying it, and I think I'm going to tell my parents today, because I have the same luck, and it's exactly the same, because they don't agree with what I do, and so it's the same. I don't agree with what you do, but there's unconditional love, and there's always a safe haven.
Yeah.
That's everything crumbles, you can always go back there.
Yeah.
At least for some time. Maybe you don't want to tell them, because otherwise they're going to stop, so that you go back to more normal things.
I don't know, because I think it is unconditional love, and unconditional love cannot be stopped. It's the greatest force of life.
Yeah.
Unconditional love, just giving without expecting anything in return. This is why I feel I got this courage to take all these steps.
Yeah. Love it.
And the other thing is the sisterhood. So
I don't like this one because I feel excluded.
Sisterhood doesn't mean that it's just around female people. Sisterhood and brotherhood, I would say, is like having a container in which you are walking the path with people that sustain you, that are around you, that nourish you, that when you are completely despaired and in the darkness night of your, like when you say, oh my, what I'm doing with my life, I don't know what I'm, because there are moments where you are desperate and you don't know. Yeah. So the presence of people that are with you in this path, and they are there that say, okay, it's okay, you can cry today, it's all good, we don't know what we are doing, but we are walking together. This is the greatest support that I find in each step, because without my sisters and without the brothers, this is why also I have so many male friends that are walking this soul path with me, and I always confront myself with them, and I ask them advice, and I'm like, oh, I had this experience, what do you think? Or I had this experience in my meditation, like always having a kind of station or sharing how you feel. Like, I feel shit today, and I just had to share it, and I feel supported by someone, people that knows what you're going through, because they are walking the same path. So this is super important for me.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's been beautiful. Svea, thank you so much.
Thank you. It was amazing. I loved it. Oh, it's amazing to be able to express.
Just for you. It was really beautiful to spend this time with you.
Same. I felt really inspired. Thank you for this opportunity.
You can find out more about Svea on our website, sveagea.com.